Welcome to CCN News. These are some of your top stories for today, January 13th, 2020. So the Supreme Court won't hear an appeal from Michelle Carter, convicted of encouraging boyfriend suicide with text messages. News: missing woman's body found in U-Haul truck wrapped in plastic and cardboard. Trump authorized Soleimani's killing 7 months ago with conditions. Baltimore shooting, 12 wounded, 5 dead in a single day of violence. All these and other stories on CCN. Now let's get to it. And in breaking news, Cory Booker drops out of the 2020 presidential race. Senator Cory Booker, a Democrat of New Jersey, announced today that he is dropping out of the 2020 race. Although Booker has been seen as a rising star in the Democratic politics, he has struggled to shine in the 2020 race. In recent weeks, he has focused on his outright dwindling diversity in the Democratic field, saying that in December that the race had more billionaires than black people after Kamala Harris had departed. He had went head-to-head with frontrunner former Vice President Joe Biden in his response to the segregationist senator, as well as him invoking President Obama as a political party from time to time. He also confronted Biden over the continuous opposition against legalizing recreational marijuana, saying that it is already legal for privileged people. Once again, in breaking news, Cory Booker has dropped out of the 2020 presidential race. We shall see what this means for the rest of the candidates and who they may have their eye on for running mates. However, this leaves no people of color left in the race but the one billionaire, as far as of color. But anybody black, it's definitely no one left in the race that is of some sort of African descent. All right, and there you have it for breaking news. Now back to our regular stories. Now back to our top story. The Supreme Court won't hear an appeal from Michelle Carter, convicted of encouraging boyfriend's suicide with text messages. This is coming from NBC, reporting that the Supreme Court said that it would not take up an appeal brought by Michelle Carter, the young woman who encouraged her boyfriend through text messages, phone calls, and to kill himself. The court refusal to take the case leaves her conviction intact. The Carter case was attracting worldwide attention as it was the subject of a 2019 HBO documentary called I Love You, Now Die, the Commonwealth versus Michelle Carter. The courts declined to decide whether her involuntary manslaughter conviction violated the First Amendment guarantee of freedom of speech because it was based solely on words that she texted or spoke. She was sentenced to 15 months in jail. In July 2014, 18-year-old Conrad Roy III of Massachusetts parked his truck and filled it with carbon monoxide, killing himself after several failed suicide attempts. Evidence at her trial, showed that Carter, who was 50 miles away in Plainsville, sent texts in the days leading up to the suicide, encouraging him to go ahead with his plans, and spoke to him twice on the phone that day he took his own life. And in other news, missing California woman's body found in U-Haul truck wrapped in plastic and cardboard. A week-long search for 29-year-old Southern California woman took a grisly twist when her body was discovered wrapped in plastic and cardboard in the back of an abandoned U-Haul truck. Ashley Manning's remains were found on Wednesday when a worker for the U-Haul took the truck to the storage facility in Fullerton, California, to begin taking inventory of its content. Sergeant Shane Carringer, the spokesperson for the Anaheim Police Department, told NBC News on Sunday. Despite the circumstances surrounding the discovery of the body, the case is being held as a suspicious death, depending the toxicology report by the Orange County Medical Examiner. And in other news, Baltimore shooting wounding 12, 5 dead in a single day of violence. NBC is reporting that 12 people were shot and 5 of them were fatal in 8 separate weekend shootings in Baltimore. The first Saturday's shooting was reported at 2:30 a.m. and involved 3 female victims, all found with apparent gunshot wounds in a car in the northeastern section of the city. One victim was a 28-year-old woman, dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. A few hours later, police responded to a shooting in the southeast part of Baltimore and found a 46-year-old man with a gunshot wound to his leg. Then a second shooting victim, a 40-year-old man, walked into the hospital seeking medical treatment for a gunshot wound to his leg as well. Shortly after 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, police found a man fatally shot in the southeast part of Baltimore that was followed less than an hour and a half later by a shooting in central Baltimore that left a 37-year-old man wounded. A 38-year-old man was found with a gunshot wound around 7 p.m. on Saturday at the northeast side of Baltimore, and a shooting in the southwest Baltimore about an hour later left one man wounded and another man dead. More gunfire a few minutes later in the northeast part of Baltimore left a 37-year-old man fatally wounded, and Saturday's violence ended shortly after 11 p.m. when officers found a 24-year-old man fatally wounded in the northeastern part of Baltimore. The city has recorded 348 homicides last year, its 5th consecutive year with more than 300 murders, and the most violent year ever per capita. City Council President Byron Scott, a Democrat running for mayor, issued a statement Sunday condemning the violence. He said, and I quote, "A day that should have been met with pride and community was once again flooded with violence and loss," Scott wrote, an apparent reference to an NFL divisional playoff game hosted by the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday. This violence is heartbreaking and must stop now, Scott added, who said that he plans to question Baltimore's police commissioner and other agencies about what they were doing in the affected communities before and after the shootings. In some entertainment news, Oscars nominations lack diversity in major categories, continuing the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite. After making major strides last year, the nominations for the 92nd Annual Academy Awards are basically Oscars So White Part 2, a sequel to the hashtag originated back in 2015 by April Rain. For the lack of diversity in the nominees, the Academy Award took the non-inclusive torch that was carried by the BAFTA Awards and the Golden Globes. Only one actor of color there was nominated in a major acting category, while women were shut out of the Best Director. It was at least refreshing to see John Chow and Lisa Ray unveil the nominations early Monday morning because they provide such needed color to the announcements. All right, so there you have it. It looks like the Academy Awards this year at the 92nd Academy Awards will also be hashtag Oscar So White Part 2 due to the nominations of the major categories, excluding people of color. So let me know how you feel about that and other stories in your comments. Please ask that you like, share, and subscribe. And as always, you have to be the change that you want to see. And thanks again for watching CCN News. I am once again your host, Captivating Christian. And as always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Peace.